It's been 1 year since a law went into effect in Philadelphia meant to combat racial profiling and make traffic stops more equitable across the city. The controversial measure banned traffic stops for minor infractions like bumper issues and driving with missing headlights. And Hank, city leaders say it's working.
They do, Dawn. They doubled down on it today, 1 year in for this driving equality legislation here in Philadelphia. And it's, as you said, it was put together to reduce negative interactions between people and police on Philadelphia roads like I-95, the ones that define our city. Councilman Isaiah Thomas wrote the bill, commemorated its first anniversary today, specifying why his legislation works for Philly and also calling critics of his law either misinformed or just plain disingenuous.
If pulling people over made this city safer, I'd be the first one to volunteer for my rights to be violated. But it doesn't work.
Councilman Isaiah Thomas says traffic stops have never been effective in reducing crime, and reducing racial disparities in parkway pullovers is something attorney Nia Holston of the Abolitionist Law Center says was visibly overdue.
That these stops can create harm rather than prevent it is something that we have increasingly witnessed via videos on social media in the last few years. And we can say the names of folks that we know who have died at the hands of these traffic stops.
Driving equality reclassifies 8 violations as secondary. Things like late registrations, a bum tail light, missing inspection sticker. Police can no longer stop a vehicle for just one of those. Lance Hannon of the Driving Equality Accountability Group says good. More dangerous moving violations are now top reasons for stops and should be.
The top 2 reasons for traffic stops following the implementation of driving equality are now failure to stop at a stop sign and failure to stop at a red light. Both violations that make more sense to address with a traffic stop, as they pose more of a clear threat to public safety.
Thomas says towns around Pittsburgh, Memphis, and Rochester have reached out about doing their own versions of the law, but some here say the legislation kills effective police work. Philly FOP sued the city a year ago to knock down the legislation. FOP President John McNesby told me on the phone that he expects the law to be struck down by a judge any day now so police can do their jobs again, as he puts it. Thomas says, like any town, Philly will enforce state laws locally.
We've seen it with the chokehold bill. We've seen it with how we deal with marijuana. So at the end of the day, we didn't change the state law. The state law is the state law. All we said was this is how we're going to enforce these laws.
Now, Dawn Thomas did spend time responding to what he called disinformation, but he also brought numbers showing, for instance, more weapons recovered from fewer stops. Underneath it all, underneath it all, Thomas says what he likes best is objective law enforcement through technology. Dawn, he gave an example, a bill working its way through Harrisburg now that, if passed, would allow local police agencies like Philly Police Department to use for the first time radar guns. Can you imagine? Radar guns on South Street and on the Schuylkill. And we're live in Old City. Dawn?
Well, that's certainly interesting, Hank. All right, thank you.